Hey, what's up everybody, it's Fade here and welcome to another video. So today I'll be talking about something that about a week ago I asked on Reddit. So what was the question actually? The question was very simple. Is Jiren a good or a bad character? Because I know that Jiren gets a lot of slack. He's getting picked on a lot for being a really bad Dragon Ball character. So I simply went to Reddit and asked what people think. So here are 5 comments that I got on Reddit that I wanted to discuss and wanted to give a comment on. So let's bring in the first one. So the first one is from a user called Wheelchair Drive-By, which is a great name by the way. And he says, Jiren is a good character for sure. Just because he's the antagonist to Goku, he doesn't fight for evil or to cause pain, but the opposite. He's driven because he was caused pain by murderers and looters, achieving levels of power to stop this. In many ways, is defensive, even though he could plow his universe's destroyer. So, my opinion on this comment is that, yes, he was driven by murderers and looters, but you only notice at the very end of Dragon Ball Super, which is a little late, so you already know Jiren. Kinda. Because you've seen Jiren, you've seen him fight, but you've mostly seen him meditate for some reason. And the gods saying that he is ultra powerful, that he can smash his own god of destruction. But that's about it. You don't really know that his pain, that he has become this powerful because he was driven by pain that was caused by murderers and looters. You don't know. So that's a problem that I have with this comment. Now, he is certainly right, but I believe that because you see it all the way at the end of his story arc, that it kind of doesn't really make sense why they would put it there, and it kind of breaks his character. So let's take a look at the second comment. From a user called Zawardo. I see what you did there. So he says, he's not particularly bad. He's just boring. If he wasn't the final antagonist of the anime, I don't think he'd get as much hate as he currently gets. I'm not a big fan of the super brick-like characters who are super strong, and Jiren just embodies this. For me personally, I can't gain interest in him, even when we see his backstory, which just doesn't land in my opinion. I follow this. Now, for the reason that I don't think Jiren is a bad character. I simply think that he is boring as well, because for the most of his time, like I just said, he's just sitting there, doing some mindless fighting that is obviously in his favor, and meditating. Now, he is a super brick-like character, just like Broly, but in case of Broly is a lot more interesting, because you see him struggling with the control that his father is putting on him, and the hate he has for Kakarot, because he annoyed him as a kid a lot. Now, although that backstory isn't all that great either, Broly shows a lot more character and a lot more hate, determination. He shows that he really wants to finish Kakarot. Which Jiren, what is determination? We have no idea all the way up till the end. Now, he says, I can't gain interest in him even when we see his backstory, which just doesn't land in my opinion. Now, that part I'm not 100% agree with, because his backstory is actually not that bad. The biggest problem about his backstory is that it's introduced that late into the anime and into his character arc, which makes Jiren a kinda slow and boring character in World Super. Now, I'm personally curious to see what he will do after Super. Maybe his personality can grow, maybe we know more of his backstory, more in depth, and we get to see his journey a little bit more. So, comment number 3. From a user called LR031099, very original. He says, or she says, I like him. He has a pretty good design. Yes, it's simplistic, but it works really well in my opinion. And he was just an alpha for the majority of the Tournament of Power. The problem with him wasn't really his character, but how it was executed. I think his backstory is fine, since I wasn't expecting anything too complex anyway, but I do think it should have been revealed earlier, like in the 1 hour special, instead of being revealed in the last few episodes, as if there was some big reveal about it. I also think he shouldn't have been too stoic. Give him more dialogue so that we could have more insight on his psyche and ideology. That way, he wouldn't just feel like a wall for Goku to overcome. Now, this kind of summarizes what I just said before, because it takes a long time before we see his actual story, because before we see his actual backstory, he is a stoic character. He doesn't say much, he doesn't do much, and he's more just like a reason to give Goku his Ultra Instinct form. That's the way I see it. So that's really basically what this comment says, but he just explains it more deeply, and he's sort of right. The next comment is from a user called Sublime Fists, and that user says, I think Jiren is great as a character. With him, what you see is what you get. His might made tangible, and his confidence and in his own power is where his team resides. While not true for all cases, it makes sense that someone so powerful is so disinterested in everything. That disregard is what creates the seemingly bland and boring characterization, but he's more nuanced than that. Let's take a look at that first part of that comment first. Now, he says someone that powerful is so disinterested in everything. Yes, we hear all the time that he is powerful, but for the most part we have no idea how powerful he is, so we can't really put ourselves in his shoes to know that he is disinterested in everything, because why would he? Is he that powerful that he can literally beat everything? Then why doesn't he destroy everybody in the beginning of the tournament? Now, I see that wouldn't make much of a story, but it would make sense. It would make way more sense for his character to do that than just sit everything out, fight a little bit, get his ass whooped, tell everybody that, oh my god, murderers and looters, and then becoming a crybaby to get knocked down anyway. So, now the second part of the comment is, the revelation of his past involving his master and his relationship with Toppo are what add layers to his character. Meh. They don't eclipse his primary persona though. He is still that absurdly powerful warrior that exudes discipline and calmness. No primary antagonist before him has that type of characterization, and that makes him unique. His introduction to the series was refreshing. And then this last sentence is really good. It's not that he isn't colorful, his color is just grey. Funny. Now, there are a few things I want to talk about in this comment, being he is still that absurdly powerful warrior that exudes discipline and calmness. Discipline and calmness is not what I would call it. I would call it lazy story writing. He just sits there. The story writer didn't have to do anything with this character then, instead just letting him sit there and exude calmness and just being a meditating big buff dude. Now, I understand that they wanted to show Jiren as a strong character like that, so he doesn't care about anything because he knows he's that much stronger. But again, that makes him a really boring character, neglectable, and from the start you can see that the Tournament of Power will end with Jiren, and because the story is Dragon Ball, you know that Goku will probably have a big deal in it. He is probably a big reason why Jiren will be the last character to fight. Now, of course, we know that Goku wasn't the one who defeated Jiren, but of course he weakened him incredibly, so he was 90% the cause of why Jiren didn't win. So now the last comment is a comment that I wanted to include because I thought it summarized it perfectly in a humorous way. Bald, originality lacking, ripped chat pandering, insulting backstory having, no personality giving, Grail alien. Silver Beretta, I thank you for this comment, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye.